You probably unlock your phone with your face or fingerprint, right? Barely give a second thought. But what if I told you that exact tech is, well, quietly fueling this massive multi-billion-dollar shift? It's really reshaping security and identity way beyond our phones. So today we're doing a deep dive into the fascinating and honestly explosive world of biometric access control systems.
That's absolutely right. And it's not just about, gadgets or consumer convenience. This is a really fast-growing part of global security. It's driven by some pretty concrete, complex needs that are evolving all the time. We'll be digging into the insights from a really comprehensive market research report to get a handle on this transformation.
Okay, let's unpack that. We hear the term biometrics all the time,
Yeah.
especially folks who follow this space. But what exactly makes up a modern, enterprise-grade biometric access control system today? What does that actually encompass?
Right. So fundamentally, these systems use unique biological traits, think fingerprints, facial scans, iris patterns, things like that, to grant access securely and efficiently. But it's more than just a simple scan now. Modern systems are highly integrated. They offer really seamless, user-friendly authentication, and that's for both physical places like secure buildings or data centers and digital environments too, like networks or sensitive data. The real key is providing that undeniable proof of identity.
Okay, this is where I find it gets really interesting. We talk about security concerns, but what are the specific, maybe more compelling forces driving this huge market expansion? What are the drivers behind this surge, beyond the obvious?
Yeah, it's definitely multifaceted. We're seeing a big shift towards, let's say, proactive identity verification. So on one side, you've got the scary rise in sophisticated cyber threats, the need to protect critical infrastructure, where one solid point of authentication can stop breaches that cost, well, billions. But then on the other hand, it's also about just making things run smoother, operational efficiency. Like in banking, it's fighting fraud, meeting compliance rules. Healthcare, secure patient data access, but keeping privacy. Smart infrastructure, it's about smooth, automated flows. And let's not forget the big push for touchless systems that really got amplified post-pandemic for health reasons.
Right, right, the touchless aspect. So with all these powerful drivers pushing things forward, how dramatic are the numbers? Just how big is this global growth we're talking about? How fast is it really moving?
The figures from cognitive market research are pretty eye-opening. The global market pulled in nearly, let's see, $14.9 billion back in 2021. Just 4 years later, by 2025, that's expected to hit $23.7 billion. But here's the kicker. The projection out to 2033 is a surge to an incredible $60.155 billion.
60 billion.
Yeah. And to give that some context, between 2025 and 2033, the compound annual growth rate, the CAGR, is projected at over 12.3%. That's, very robust, sustained growth.
Wow, that's not just growth. That's like watching a trickle turn into a roaring river almost overnight. That acceleration is just incredible. It really signals a fundamental change in how we're thinking about access and security. Okay, so let's zoom in a bit. Let's talk regions. Where's the most action happening? And maybe more interestingly, are there unique trends or reasons driving growth differently around the world?
It's definitely not uniform, but yeah, the growth is widespread. Let's break it down. North America, for instance, is still the big player. It hit nearly $6 billion in 2021, projected to top $23 billion by 2033. The U.S., unsurprisingly, leads that. Strong enterprise uptake, mature security market, lots of government investment. Canada and Mexico are also adding significantly to that regional strength.
Okay, so North America is the established leader. What about Europe?
Europe's also showing really solid expansion. It was over $4.2 billion in 2021, and it's looking at nearly $16.6 billion by 2033. Key countries there, Germany, France, the UK, you see a big focus on data protection, compliance, things like GDPR really pushing secure access. And interestingly, the rest of Europe category actually showed one of the highest growth rates in the region, suggesting it's spreading fast, even in smaller economies. Italy, Russia, Spain also showing strong numbers.
Interesting. But you mentioned some regions might have even more explosive growth.
Absolutely. If you're looking for sheer acceleration, Asia Pacific is where it's at. It was valued just under $2.8 billion in 21. but it's forecast to just skyrocket past 12.5 billion by 2033. It's got one of the highest regional ANPJs. Here you've got giants like China and India seeing massive integration. Often it's tied to huge smart city projects, rapid infrastructure development. They're basically baking biometrics into public and private security right from the start. Japan and Singapore are also big contributors, really embracing this tech in corporate settings and cities. And again, the rest of APAC shows the highest regional CAGR, over 15%.
That's fascinating. So it sounds like while North America and Europe are maybe upgrading or expanding existing systems, Asia Pacific is almost defining the future by building it into new stuff from the ground up.
That's a good way to put it, yeah. They're often leapfrogging, in a sense.
Are there other regions showing maybe less obvious but still significant acceleration?
Oh, for sure. South America, while smaller overall, is seeing a really substantial jump. It's projected to nearly quadruple its 2021 value by 2033. Brazil's leading the way there. Argentina is also posting strong gains. It shows, rising awareness and investment across the continent. And similarly, the Middle East and Africa, they start from lower bases, yes, but the proportional growth is impressive. Countries like the UAE, Nigeria, South Africa, they're becoming real regional hubs for this tech. It reflects growing economies, more infrastructure projects. It just really highlights how global this whole shift is.
That's a fantastic breakdown. It really paints a picture of how this market is spreading everywhere. It makes you wonder, doesn't it, what specific needs or projects are driving those really high growth rates in places like India or, the rest of APAC. So thinking about all this, what does it really mean for you? Listening in, we've looked at the numbers, the powerful forces behind this incredible market growth. It seems pretty clear that biometrics are quickly becoming just, part of the background noise of daily life. From work to smart cities, they're quietly securing things all around us.
Exactly. And if we try to connect this to maybe the bigger picture, it's really more than just market size, isn't it? It signifies a fundamental shift in how we authenticate who someone is and how we control access globally. So considering this rapid, widespread adoption, it does raise an important question for the future. Beyond the security and convenience, what sort of ethical or maybe societal things might pop up as biometric access becomes truly, truly pervasive? And, how might those considerations influence the next wave of innovation?
That's a really powerful thought to end on. Ethical considerations, societal impact, definitely things to ponder as this technology keeps expanding so quickly. Well, thank you for joining us on this deep dive into the world of biometric access control systems. We hope it's given you a clearer, maybe more insightful picture of this quietly transformative force shaping our world. So if you've ever just, casually pressed your thumb to unlock your phone, or maybe found yourself breezing through airport security with a quick face scan, well, you've tapped into the world of biometrics. It feels pretty seamless, almost like magic, doesn't it? What seemed futuristic just a few years ago is rapidly becoming the absolute gold standard for secure access, pretty much everywhere. Today, we're taking a deep dive into biometric access control. Our mission for you is to really pull out the most important nuggets about its soaring trends, what's driving it, and importantly, the challenges ahead. We want you to walk away not just informed, but maybe genuinely surprised by some of this.
Yeah, and it's such a timely topic because, well, we're all constantly trying to balance this need for really rock-solid security with, let's face it, our desire for convenience. Whether that's online or just moving around in the physical world, biometrics sit right at that fascinating intersection. They offer a pretty unique solution to some very modern problems.
Okay, so let's unpack this then. What's really supercharging this impressive growth we're seeing in biometric access control?
Right. Well, at the absolute top of the list is just a surging demand for more robust security. I mean, it makes sense.
Okay.
As concerns over things like unauthorized access, data breaches, physical threats even. As those escalate, you see businesses, government agencies, even military orgs turning more and more to biometrics.
And it's more than just being harder to guess than a password. Right?
Oh, definitely. What's often overlooked, the real nugget here perhaps, is the almost immutable nature of your biometric data. Think about it.
Okay.
You can reset a password if it's stolen. But if your fingerprint scan or your iris pattern is compromised, that's not just a breach. It's kind of a permanent vulnerability. It fundamentally changes your digital identity.
Wow. Okay. That's irreversible.
Exactly. It's an irreversible shift most people don't fully grapple with. And that makes biometrics far harder to spoof or bypass than traditional methods.
So like cards or keys.
Precisely. Things that can be lost, stolen, shared. So for instance, you see high security corporate facilities moving beyond simple swipe cards. They're adopting multi-factor biometric access, maybe combining facial recognition with a fingerprint scan for that extra layer.
Makes sense.
And we shouldn't forget the impact of the post-COVID era that certainly accelerated things, driving a massive increase in demand for, well, hygienic, touchless solutions.
Yeah, that touchless aspect is huge now. That's a strong case for individual organizations.
Mhm.
But are these changes just happening organically, or is there maybe a bigger push, like from governments or international bodies?
That's a great point. Precisely. Governments worldwide are massively integrating biometrics into critical systems.
Like what kind of systems?
Well, take India's Aadhaar program, for example. It's the world's largest biometric ID system. It's just colossal.
Right.
Or look at Europe implementing smart border control systems. You'll increasingly see biometrics used for everything from passport issuance, voter authentication, even healthcare and banking access.
Okay, so it's becoming quite embedded in infrastructure.
Absolutely. And if we connect this to the bigger picture, it's also about compliance. Regulatory frameworks, especially in sectors like finance and healthcare, are pushing harder for advanced auditable security methods.
And biometrics fits the bill.
Perfectly. They offer a level of traceability that older systems just couldn't match.
Okay, so we have the security demand, the government push. But the technology itself must be a huge factor too, right? How are these innovations making the systems, faster, smarter, more adaptable?
You've absolutely hit on a key point there. Innovations in AI-powered recognition, something called edge computing, and just better sensor precision are making these systems incredibly capable.
Edge computing. What's that in simple terms?
Think of it like processing the data right where it's collected, say, right at the door scanner itself, instead of sending it far away to a central server first.
Oh, so it's faster.
Much faster. Lightning-fast authentication without those delays. And modern facial recognition. It's getting really sophisticated. It can now identify people even if they're wearing masks or in pretty low light conditions.
Impressive.
And what's more, cloud integration and mobile compatibility are changing the game. Organizations can monitor access in real time, they can view usage logs remotely, control entry systems from almost anywhere.
So like managing access from your phone.
Exactly. Imagine, say, a busy co-working space. You just use a mobile app on your smartphone, it scans your face, the door unlocks, hands-free. It's completely trackable and super user-friendly.
Yeah, I can see the appeal.
And these advancements aren't just making systems smarter, they're making them scalable. So you see them popping up across retail, education, banking, even residential housing now.
Okay, so we've covered the impressive growth, the tech making it possible. But look, every transformative technology has its downsides, its obstacles. What are the key restraints, the significant hurdles we need to talk about with biometrics?
Oh, there certainly are. And a major one, probably the biggest, is the sheer volume of privacy concerns.
Right. The data itself.
Exactly. Collecting and storing such unique personal data, it raises serious ethical and legal questions. Remember what we said earlier. You can change a password, but you can't change your fingerprint or your iris pattern.
That permanence again.
That permanence creates a real public debate, especially around things like facial recognition surveillance. You saw cities like San Francisco or debates in parts of the EU really scrutinizing this. People are asking, who owns this data? How secure is it really? How long is it kept? And this public scrutiny, naturally, leads to stricter data protection rules like GDPR in Europe.
Which makes it harder for companies using the tech.
It significantly increases the compliance burdens, yes.
I can definitely see that. And I imagine just practically getting this sleek, advanced tech installed and the upfront cost. That must be a classic IT headache, right? Is high setup cost a major barrier?
It absolutely is. Biometric access systems often involve expensive, specialized hardware, pretty complex software, and you need significant investment in staff training too.
So not cheap.
Not cheap. It makes them a tough sell, especially for smaller businesses or maybe public institutions working with tighter budgets. Plus, you nailed the legacy system integration issue.
Trying to connect it to the old stuff.
Yeah, upgrading from traditional access cards to biometrics isn't always just plug and play. Often it requires a complete overhaul, maybe custom solutions, which adds considerable cost and complexity.
Right.
And in many emerging markets, even though you see the demand clearly rising, the actual cost per unit remains a major barrier to really large-scale adoption.
Okay, so cost and privacy are big ones. Beyond that, what about just the day-to-day reliability? I mean, are these systems always as foolproof as they seem in the movies?
Unfortunately, not always. Despite huge strides in accuracy, biometric systems can still be prone to errors like false rejections, where it doesn't recognize you when it should. Or worse, false acceptances, letting someone in who shouldn't be. This happens especially in maybe harsh environments or during peak traffic times.
What kind of things interfere?
Well, I remember hearing about a case, a hospital installed a new system, then suddenly half their staff couldn't get in during winter because they'd all grown beards.
Hmm. Okay, that's a practical issue.
It's those unforeseen real-world quirks. Changes in appearance, maybe just dirty sensors, poor lighting.
Oh,
Even wearing gloves can interfere with some fingerprint scanners.
and that's a problem in critical places.
It becomes a really serious concern in places like airports, hospitals, secure labs. Anywhere consistent, fast, and truly flawless access is absolutely paramount.
Understood. So we've covered the impressive growth drivers and the equally significant hurdles. Let's shift gears now. Looking forward, what are some of the hottest trends shaping the future of biometric access control? What's on the horizon?
Okay, first up, definitely touchless authentication. We mentioned COVID earlier. The demand for contactless access just surged dramatically then, and that trend isn't slowing down at all.
It's still going strong.
Absolutely. We're seeing airports installing facial recognition for boarding gates, hospitals moving towards iris-based access for staff reduces contact points, you see. Workplaces are adopting things like voice recognition and palm vein scanners.
Palm vein. That sounds futuristic.
It is, but it's very effective. And some innovative systems are even combining things now, like integrating health checks, scanning body temperature, maybe right alongside identity verification.
Wow, okay, so merging security and health screening.
Into one seamless interface, yeah.
That's a fascinating evolution. And given how much of our lives are digital now, I imagine cloud and mobile integration are also huge trends.
Without a doubt. Look, standalone systems, they're quickly becoming a thing of the past.
Right. Everything needs to be connected.
Exactly. Today's biometric platforms are designed to seamlessly sync with broader enterprise applications. Think HR systems, real-time security dashboards, visitor logs, you name it.
And the mobile part.
Employees can now just use their smartphones to gain access. The facial or fingerprint recognition is handled securely, often in the cloud. This offers incredible flexibility.
Yeah, I can see that being useful for remote work too.
Perfect for hybrid workforces, dynamic co-working spaces, companies with lots of distributed locations. We're even seeing the rise of subscription-based biometric services now.
Ah, like software as a service, but for biometrics.
Precisely. Which makes adoption much easier for small and medium-sized enterprises, SMEs, that might not have had the upfront capital for big hardware investments before.
That sounds like it really democratizes the tech a bit more, makes it accessible. Okay, and finally, what about the idea of not relying on just one biometric, combining different methods?
Yes, that's where multimodal solutions come in, and this is a really key trend.
Multimodal meaning.
Meaning using two or more biometric identifiers together. So, for example, combining facial and fingerprint recognition, or maybe an iris scan and voice authentication.
Why do that? Just for extra security.
Primarily, yes. It significantly improves accuracy and resilience. It acts as a backup if one mode fails. Maybe the lighting is bad for facial recognition, or if one is somehow compromised.
So high security places would love this.
Definitely. It's no surprise that critical applications like data centers, research labs, border control agencies, they're leaning heavily into multimodal systems.
Okay.
But interestingly, these aren't just for Fort Knox anymore. They're also finding their way into more everyday places, schools, gyms, even apartment complexes, places where balancing both convenience and security is crucial for daily operations.
So it's about building layers.
Exactly. Building a layered defense that adapts to various needs and situations.
It's really clear then, isn't it?
Yeah.
Biometrics are transforming from what felt like, I don't know, a sci-fi concept just a short while ago to an absolute everyday reality for so many of us.
And this whole shift, it's really driven by a powerful combination, a trifecta, if you will. Evolving threats that demand stronger security, advanced technology, making these systems smarter and, crucially, more accessible.
Right.
And underpinning it all, just a growing demand from all of us for secure, seamless access in nearly every aspect of our lives.
So as you, our listener, look around at your own daily life, think about your smart device, your workplace, maybe even buildings you visit. Consider this. How might this increasing prevalence of biometrics, especially these multimodal and cloud-integrated systems,
Hmm.
how might that fundamentally change your personal relationship with privacy and convenience
Right.
in the spaces you inhabit every day, your home, your work, public areas? What new questions might this raise for you about your own personal footprint in this increasingly biometric world? Something to think about.